NBA player props here on PrizePicks for Wednesday, March 22nd. Before I get started, there's a link in the description below to sign up for PrizePicks, or you guys can use promo code TUFF to sign up. They will match 100% of your first deposit. Discord link in the description, as well as Patreon link where I post all the plays I'm making on PrizePicks for each given sport that I do play. Again, do need to mention I'm not a gambling expert, not financial advice. Simply just plays I'm personally looking at making. Hopefully giving you guys some insight and analysis to make your own player prop decisions here. But yeah, don't want to waste anyone's time. Let's just get right into it. We have a massive slate today. I believe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games here on the slate. So we got 20 NBA teams playing tonight. A lot of injury things kind of waiting to get kind of news on here. But nonetheless, massive slate here tonight on the NBA. I got two plays here that I'm targeting. Let's not waste any time. Let's just get right to it. So the first one I'm targeting here is going to be Jimmy Butler over 42.5 fantasy score against the New York Knicks. Yeah, Jimmy's been playing extremely well. Hit the over on this 4 of his last 5 games here. We take a look at this matchup in Miami, New York in Miami. 224 over under, kind of two slower paced teams here. A 2-point spread, so we can expect Jimmy to play, his normal set 33, 34 plus minutes in this game. Hopefully, obviously this game has some pretty high implications as far as playoff seeding goes. I mean, you can see here that Miami is one game below the 6th seed, so they don't have to play the play-in. So they're looking to win as many games as possible. Obviously, the Knicks trying to maybe creep up, get that 4 seed. They obviously don't want to fall into the play-in, so they're right there, 3 games out of the play-in. So this game, massive playoff implications. We can expect the Stars to play quite a bit here. But Jimmy Butler, over his last 13 games, really since the All-Star break, you guys, he's averaging 46.4 fantasy points. 33 minutes, 25.9 points per game, 6.8 rebounds, 5.4 assists, 1.5 steals, and 0.4 blocks, only 1.5 turnovers per game here. And we can see the over. I mean, we need 42.6. He has hit the over on this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of his last 13 games since the All-Star break. He has hit the over on this. He did just face the Knicks on March 3rd, and he had 56.1 fantasy points in that matchup. Played 33 minutes, had 33, 8, 5, and 2, and 0 turnovers, shot 7 for 15 from the field. And he got to the free throw line 20 times, 20 free throw attempts for Jimmy Butler. You can see here, I mean, he gets to the free throw line a ton. But 42.5 fantasy score is what I'm targeting here. We take a look at Jimmy Butler over the last 5 games. He's averaging, actually over the last 10 games. Let's even break this down to the last 10. Jimmy Butler averaging 1.41 fantasy points per minute, which is 8th most in the NBA as far as players playing tonight. 1.41 fantasy points per minute. I mean, if we expect Jimmy to play 33, 34 plus minutes in this matchup here, that should be well over his line of 42.5. But the Knicks, just a great matchup, right? The Knicks, over the last 30 days, giving up the second most fantasy points to the small forward position, 23.59 points per game. Pretty much middle tier in rest of the stats, but nothing too low. Right here, blocks, you can see 4th most blocks, but just love the 2nd most fantasy points to the small forward position. We can see here small forwards, fantasy score game log recently against the Knicks. I mean, Gordon Hayward, this is all in the month of March, by the way. Gordon Hayward had 45. Kawhi Leonard and Paul George both had 47 and 48. Jaylen Brown had 52. Jimmy Butler 56.1, and then Jason Tatum had 60. So Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both had 52 and 60 in the same game. Like I said, Jimmy Butler already had 56. And then even down here, like Kelly Oubre had 38. Mikal Bridges had 31. Keegan Murray and Kyle Anderson both had 28 plus here. So the floor is very high here for Jimmy Butler, who has just been playing extremely well as of late. This season, there is looking like there may be no Kyle Lowry. It's looking like he's going to play. Caleb Martin is going to be questionable, more likely on the downside of questionable here. But nonetheless, I mean, Jimmy's the go-to guy here on this Miami team. And if we just take a look here, right, like Jimmy's usage, let's just do the last 30 kind of since the All-Star break. I mean, Jimmy's seeing the highest usage on the team, 27.1 usage. And since the All-Star break, more specifically, he's averaging 50.5 fantasy points since the All-Star break. 14 games, 29, 7, and 5, 1.6 steals. So it's just absolutely massive here. Great spot here for Jimmy Butler. I think this line is just a little bit too low. My first play is going to be Jimmy Butler over 42.5 fantasy. And the second one here is just a line that, I mean, I just think it's too low. It's going to be Davis, AD over 25.5 fantasy points. Now, this line right here for Anthony Davis is like, I mean, let's right off the bat, right? Let's take a look at the odds. So let's refresh this real quick. Again, we make these videos in one shot. Consensus is over 26.5. FanDuel has it at 26. Sugar House, Bet Rivers, Unibet all have it at 26. Caesars has this over 25.5 minus 125. Pinnacle Sportsbook, which many consider the sharpest sportsbook in the world, is over 25.5 minus 151. Right, minus 151 here on Pinnacle, which you do love to see from Anthony Davis. That's really really great odds to go over 25.5. And I want to say this line probably does bump up. Honestly, by the time this game starts, he probably bumps up to 26, honestly, or maybe 27 flat, but probably 26.5 by the time this game starts. This game has massive implications on the playoffs as well. We see your Lakers out of the play-in currently, a half game back of Utah and Minnesota. Like, the Lakers are out of the play-in, but they're only 2.5 games back from Golden State, which is the 6th seed. So the Lakers, this is an absolute must-win game here for the Lakers. You can see here the Suns are up here. The Suns probably trying to win this game as well, given that they probably aren't going to have Kevin Durant for the rest of the regular season. But Anthony Davis just kind of been a monster without LeBron, right? Obviously, I mean, you can see the hit rate without LeBron this season as far as points go. He has been in a little bit of a slump. He did recently hit this against Dallas and New Orleans. You can see here 15 against Orlando, 17 against the Knicks, and 18 against Toronto. But before that was on an absolute tear. I think he really needs to just stay aggressive. That's the only thing with AD. You can see the field goal attempts. I mean, he was consistently having 18 plus, and then he had 17 here, 7 here, and then 14 and 15, which is just too low for a player like Anthony Davis. He faced Phoenix earlier this season back here on November 22nd, and that was without LeBron. You can see here the starting lineup around him. AD had 37 points in that matchup, 11 from 17 from the field, and got to the free throw line 16 times. In this matchup, though, too, there's going to be no DeAndre Ayton. Maybe Biyombo is maybe a little bit better defensively, but, I mean, Biyombo just not going to get the same amount of minutes in a run, and there's really no backup big that can guard AD, so I'm sure they're going to probably try to match AD with Biyombo with AD's minutes, but I think AD has too much speed, too much quickness, and too much skill for Biyombo. There's no reason AD shouldn't have 26 points tonight in a must-win game, and I'm a Laker fan, and I say that, on some real talk. And we take a look here just at AD, with LeBron off the court. Let's just take a look at his averages real quick. With LeBron off the court, let's just do the last 30 days. Or let's do the last 60, honestly. At home, too, by the way, for AD. I mean, he's averaging 25.1 points per game. Oh, I guess we got to take Russ off. Let's just take the last 30 since the All-Star break. We got to take Russ off. AD averaging 24.9, but he does see the highest usage on the team. But 24.9 points per game. We're going to need more from him tonight. 25.5. Again, this line is bumping to 26.5 without question by the time tip-off starts. So we do get some value here at 25. Again, minus 151 on Pinnacle. Most sports books have it at 26.5. So these are the two plays here for this YouTube video. Jimmy Butler over 42.5 fantasy. Anthony Davis over 25.5 points. Let me know in the comments below you guys feel about these two plays. Drop a like, hit that subscribe button. And as always, let's cash.